Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Guild Chatter. It's been a long time since I did this. This is my solo podcasty type video where we discuss certain topics, mostly about Monster Hunter, and I talk in a kind of soothing monotone voice like this so that it feels good to hear my voice while we talk about things. So, yeah, I decided to use gameplay this time instead of just having my hunter just sit there and do nothing while I talk. Even though that was kind of relaxing, I think I want to see how gameplay video goes because a lot of people seem to like watching my gameplay, and just uploading random hunts on YouTube doesn't really do too well. So I think maybe hunting and chilling and talking is the best way to go. Also, this is the footage I used on my last MH Bad Takes video, but yeah, that video was so obscured that you could barely see the hunt. So now I have the full hunt here, or the full two hunts. So yeah, with that long ass intro out of the way, let's start with our topic, and that is accessibility in Monster Hunter, and if accessibility will ruin the Monster Hunter experience going forward. And my honest take on this is that no, for the long haul, I don't think it's going to ruin the experience. But I do think that a lot of people are going to be soured by this. I think that a lot of difficulty in Monster Hunter came from how redundant a lot of things were. So I guess you could say that maybe drinks were a stretch, hot and cool drinks. But at the end of the day, I feel like maybe it is kind of redundant at this point. Also, maps, some more maps were confirmed for Rise. And it seems that we will be getting a volcanic region. And, and maybe even a desert region from the looks of it. So honestly, I don't know how this drink situation is going to work. It's possible that our hunter will be drinking something before the hunt, and that just works throughout the whole entire hunt. I'm not really sure how they're gonna make that work lore wise, if you want to call it lore, but yeah, that seems to be the reality of the situation right now. There's still a lot we need to learn about that, but also something else Ichinose has confirmed apparently is that there's going to take even less monster parts to make armor sets and weapons. So even though they kind of dumbed this down just a bit in World, they're apparently dumbing it down even more in Rise. So if you want my thoughts on this, it's simple. I I don't know exactly what to think yet because I don't know just how significant these changes are going to be. I think it was fine with World. Like, things didn't feel too grindy, I would say. The thing about older Monster Hunter games were that it was incredibly grindy. It was both a good and a bad thing, but when you think about accessibility and just trying to get new people into the series, it's kind of intrusive, in my opinion. So I think that this may be a good thing to do, but we'll see just how quote-unquote easy it's going to be to make new sets and stuff. I don't really think they're going to effectively kill their franchise. I think they're doing this very carefully. But then again, look at Street Fighter 5. But, accessibility in Street Fighter 5 was kind of ruining things for a lot of people. And even though pro players are still playing Street Fighter 5 to this day, some of them just dropped off the face of the earth, and others are just dealing with the hand that was dealt to them. So we'll see how that goes with Monster Hunter. But yeah, I mean, even in the past, I guess you could say, like, the way monsters used to move, even though monsters were always fairly smooth in Monster Hunter, maybe minus the first and second game, but yeah, that and hitboxes, stuff like that made difficulty very artificial. which like the fight itself wasn't really hard. It was just archaic game design that made it harder. And a lot of games seem easier today because, accessibility is such a big thing now, and trying to make games smoother to get into rather than something that's like hardcore off the jump. And it's a very difficult topic to talk about because a lot of people see it as very one-dimensional. They see it as, well, this company's dumbing things down, so they're just making it easier for new people to come in and shit all over the franchise. And I don't necessarily think that's what is going on here, but I can definitely see their point. So my thing about Monster Hunter is I don't necessarily think that Monster Hunter is a hard game. I think that Monster Hunter is very hard to get into at first. There are a lot of things that will shy people away from the game or the games. And even for myself, when I played MH3U for the first time, I almost gave up playing it because it was too stressful at first. And I wasn't used to playing games with combat that felt so weighty and that relied so much on animations. And being able to read your monster and committing to just about every action you did is something that was like alien to me. And I remember fighting Royal Ludroth with a great sword, and it was just incredibly hard. The concept of reading monsters or reading your opponent was not a thing for me at the time. So, which is weird because I played a lot of fighting games even when I was a child. And until maybe like a couple of years ago, I've actually learned how to read my opponent, even in fighting games. And fighting games, I was always good at, I was good at, I would say, combos. I was good at execution in fighting games, but I was kind of brain dead otherwise. I was not good at faking out my opponent or reading patterns until like fairly recently is when, like my third eye opened and I was able to read everything my opponent did if I downloaded them and shit like that. I know that was cringy, but yeah. It's the truth though. So I applied that stuff to Monster Hunter and it just changed the entire way I played the game. Playing Monster Hunter went beyond just hunting things and making their gear, making hats out of monsters, and went into always improving myself in Monster Hunter. And Monster Hunter, like I said, I don't think it's a hard game, but I think it's fairly difficult to get into, and fighting new monsters is always a treat because learning a new monster is fun, and you get a great sense of reward after learning a monster in and out, and you can just demolish it. And yeah, with different weapons too, it takes like a different amount of learning with different types of weapons. And that's the beauty of Monster Hunter, its gameplay loop is super addicting. So I think accessibility wise, as long as the hunts themselves are fairly difficult, and not like balls to the walls hard, like let's say Mizu for example. Mizutune in the Rise demo is annoying. I hate hunting that monster. And because I don't really speedrun like that, I was not even going to try to speedrun Mizu. And I didn't hunt it that much. I hunted it quite a bit, but, not like over 20 times. Because I was like, this monster's annoying. And I'd rather hunt this with my own gear, not with some predetermined demo gear. I didn't like that. But yeah, I think Monster Hunter is going to be fine. Some people are still going to shit on it. I mean, people shit on Iceborne. And for good reason. I mean, Iceborne had some issues, but I think for the most part, Iceborne was mostly an improvement over Base World. But yeah, the Clutch Claw may have changed things a bit. It was a bit of a chore, but you know, I got used to it, and it kind of became, well, yeah, it became a chore, like a chore that I didn't really complain about. It's just something. It became a habit, I guess. So it wasn't necessarily bad for me. So I would say, in conclusion, I think accessibility in Monster Hunter is going to be beneficial for the most part. There are going to be some things that feel easier in a sense, but as long as the hunts feel satisfying, personally, I'm okay with that. So write me in the comments below because I want to know what some of you think on the accessibility issues, or if you want to call it issues, or just the topic of accessibility with Monster Hunter in general. What do you think is going to happen with Rise further? Do you think that this game is going to be the easiest Monster Hunter? Do you think it's going to be kind of difficult? Are you even going to enjoy it? Yeah, let me know down below. And yeah, I think I ran out of shit to say, so I'm gonna go now. Bye now.